Monday. Hi, Vicky and Sarah. How are you?
Hi, Lee. Hi, Vicky.
And we are still talking about the theme about, why sometimes you should play safe and why sometimes you should take risk. And there's no better person to talk about this subject than my friend here, Victoria Lowell. She's a financial specialized in divorce finance that help people get out of. Sometimes you are in that same situation, or sometimes your partner has been taken care of so long you don't know what's going on, and now things are going berserk, and you need somebody who actually understand the financial, not just any financial, but the splitting of the financial. So I am so happy, so glad and honored to have you here, Vicky, but we're going to get to your profile real quick. We're going to have Sarah introduce our program, and maybe Sarah can talk a little bit about why we are dedicating this platform to help the Refugee Film School
Okay.
and introduce herself. So go ahead, Sarah.
All right. Well, before I introduce myself, I just want to remind everybody you heard this before, but our platform here, we have been doing this for almost 2 years now, right?
Yes.
But at the beginning, our goal is to help to inspire our audience, to help lift you up, to motivate you, to get you out of the worry and fear and doubt. So now we are in the next level. This phase,
Right.
we are clear about our vision. We want to help the group of people that are helpless. And this group of people are refugees. They've been stuck in Malaysia for so long. Some of them decades, some of them 5 years, some of them 10 years. So they have no way out at this point and they need help. So because we have our background is refugee. We both, Lee and I, we come from a war-torn country and we rebuild our life in this country, but there are people that got stuck that did not have the chance to rebuild their life yet. So that's why we dedicate this platform to help support them. So if you ever have you feel that you want to support, you can contribute at any amount of $1, $5, $10, whatever. You can go to refugeefilmschool.com, refugeefilmschool.com. We will put the link at the bottom. But I want to introduce myself briefly. I'm Sarah M. I grew up in Cambodia. My life turned pretty much upside down when I was in college as the communist Khmer Rouge took over our country. They basically destroyed our life, destroyed our country. I struggled so much to survive, just to live from one day to the next day, but God have mercy. Out of 8 million people, 2 million died during those 4 years. And God was so grateful, was so graceful to save my life. And I was able to escape from captivity and escape from the country. And now I'm here in United States for 40 years. So I put my journey in the book, and this is my book. It's called How I Survived the Killing Fields. So you can find it on my website, crm.com. And I'm also an inspirational speaker. Just like Lee, you can reach out to either one of us. So back to you, Lee.
Thank you, Sarah. Hopefully I didn't put you on the spot. I was just kind of preparing and I was like, okay, Sarah, go introduce, but you did a wonderful job. And so I am is the other part of this co-host. My name is Lea Tran. If you haven't met us, welcome to check us out, and thank you for stopping our platform. So my background is also a refugee background, and almost the same time when Sarah came here, I came in 1980. We left Vietnam in 1979 as a refugee, and we fled the country, escaped from the communists. And it was a long journey. I too have shared my story on TEDx stage. I also write a book, and that's my book back there. And it's called I Did Not Miss the Boat, because we did get the boat to come out, and we were on that boat and we're here. So we didn't miss that boat. But mentally, there's a lot of boats that I think I missed, and I don't want to miss it anymore. And that's why we have this platform to encourage people to do the things that they need to do so they don't regret, because you deserve it. Every one of us have the power to choose, so we don't have stuck behind. We can always get on the boat. And you can find out more about my story at leatran.com, leatran.com, and connect with us. And if you have a story to share, we invite you to come to our platform and share your story. But today we are spotlighting my good friend, Victoria Lowell. Vicky is a sort of like a sister from a different networking group that we belong to. And we're going to talk about femme a little bit if you want to, Victoria. Vicky is starting up a women networking group. It's called Femme City, and she's going to be the chapter leader here, the president. So it's a women networking group that connecting women all over the globe and the country. There's many different chapters. And she's gonna we had one in Orlando, but it was kind of like go submarine for a little bit. Now we're gonna resurface with Vicky's leadership. So not just the leader itself, but she's also a finance coach. And I am not gonna steal your thunder. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and your background, because she has so much to offer, and we are super honored that she is actually coming up here and share with us her skill, her story, and her expertise. Welcome, Vicky.
Oh, thank you both for having me, and thank you so much for what you're doing. As the granddaughter and daughter of refugees, Cuban refugees, your mission speaks to my heart very much, and what you're doing is just fantastic, and I'm honored to be here today. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Victoria Lowell. I am a female entrepreneur living in the Orlando area, originally from Miami. The wife of almost 25 years, my husband, college sweetheart Carlos, and mother of 2 girls. But my background in what I do in my day-to-day business world is that I am a financial coach and advocate for women, particularly women who are transitioning in life, whether it be divorce or widowing. I have 8 years of working at a Wall Street firm that I left behind because I felt a mission and a passion to start a educational platform for women, to be able to give them the knowledge and the know-how to handle their finances. The vast majority of women don't lean into their finances, and they leave it to the hands of someone else. And what we find is that this financial abdication impacts women dramatically when the time comes for them to retire. So at Empowered Worth, my company, we have a free membership that allows you to access a personal finance education course for free that you can get. We post it through Thintific. And you can take all these classes online. We do workshops, we do webinars, we do seminars, all that type of great just financial knowledge for you there. Additionally, I'm also a certified divorce financial analyst. So I work with a lot of amazing couples and women and families to help them have what I call empowered divorces. Not divorces that destroy a family, but divorces that help us figure out that there can be a life and a new normal after divorce, and that it doesn't have to be a financial defeat of epic proportions, especially for women. So that's something that I do as well.
That is so powerful. I mean, how many people actually had a lifetime of building and then it's all crumbling down because the marriage didn't work out and it become
Mm.
bad relationship, and it's just really bad for the kids. So what you do, it's so, I don't know, it's just so meaningful to actually help couples have resolve whatever financial discrepancy and still staying, not hating each other.
Exactly. Exactly. That's really the thing. And it's amazing that the trend has been more and more couples realizing that you're going to have to see each other, especially if you have children, for the rest of your lives. So we can get through the divorce process in a way that helps honor each other and the relationship that was there without destroying each other. Then you can move forward in an empowered way that's healthy for your children and for yourself. Because no one putting
Yeah,
all that negativity out there is not good for you. Whether you
right.
might get revenge or that you deserve, but it's not good for you. And it's not even good for the divorce professionals that are in the room dealing with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of bad energy, especially. It's really tough for the children if they have to get caught in the middle,
Yes,
and
yes.
it's a
And that,
win-win situation. Yeah, right now.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. And that's one of those things that women a lot of times will come and say, do I even risk the divorce? Do I even risk doing this? Women who are in abuse situations, who
Right.
are just not, do I do that? And I'm like, well, the reward has to be empowerment at the other end. The reward isn't financial. The reward has to be being able to lay your head down on the pillow every night and know that you are free, that you're going to live a better life. So that's really important.
That's really great intention, though. I'm going to dive right into the question because I know that, well, first of all, I really want to ask you, what proned you to go this path? What proned you to look at women and say that I will be, I mean, and again, I didn't know that your membership is free. So that's just beautiful how you can help women to just get the first step to get out of the um uncomfortable and not knowing what to handle by going take a course and knowing a little bit at a time. But what drive you to this path and say that you're going to do that?
I am the empowered work woman. I was for a very long time in my life the quintessential stay-at-home mom, married to my college sweetheart, raising children. I was living in Greenwich, Connecticut. I mean, it couldn't get more picture perfect. And then the market crashed in 2008, and I found myself looking at my husband, who I love dearly, and thinking, I can't help him. I don't understand any of the financial components that we're dealing with as the financial crisis was happening. So I wanted to kind of lean back in to the workforce, lean back in to my power, my financial power. Went back to school, ended up making a long story very short, ended up working in finance with my husband. My husband works in finance, not in a position where I was actually an advisor, but I ended up seeing what he did and wanting to connect with the female clients.
Hmm.
So I ended up getting my licenses, my 7 and my 66. And the more that I tried to knock on the door of the female client, the more that you would get, they come in once, then you never see them again. It was really hard to get clients, especially that were married, to come in for that second, that review yearly. You'd only see one half of the equation. You'd see the husband. A lot of times the husband would even tell you, you can convince my wife to come in. I love that because I don't like doing this by myself. I want her involved. Yeah. What if something should happen to you? What if this? What if that? But it was really hard. So then I started asking questions. I started kind of going out there and saying, well, why aren't these women coming? And at the same time, the finance world was asking those questions. And we got a lot of data that women just didn't feel confident. It comes down to education. Mm-hmm. And if you feel like you're going to ask a stupid question, mm-hmm. you're not going to do that. If you've been told your whole life, don't worry, your husband's going to handle that. That's what you do. If you never saw your mother handle it, you're going to mimic that behavior. So how do we change a stereotype? How do you change a way of thinking that has been ingrained for multi-generations? My grandmother, she did not know where any of her finances was. My grandfather passed away. My mom and my dad took over helping her with her finances. My mother's much more involved than my grandmother was. I can't even imagine what my great grandmother probably had no idea. She probably didn't even have access keep our money. At least my grandmother knew where the checkbook was. You know,
Yeah.
she never wrote a check. She wrote
Right.
checks to my grandfather died, but she never wrote a check that I remember ever seeing her write one. She had probably no idea what was made in the household. And you still find those situations nowadays in 2021.
It is sad. It is sad.
Mhm.
And we need to start discussing how we change that. And that's what kind of got to me. I couldn't look at my daughters and say I had contributed to women and not change this narrative that was in the industry that I was working in.
Right. It can be intimidating because, you know, people was like, oh, had all those math thing and all those like ledgers and all those, you know, compound interest and investment and this and that. But it doesn't matter.
I know, but here's the secret, and this is the secret no one tells you. It's not rocket science.
Mhm.
It actually isn't. You need to know a very basic fundamental education, which, by the way, we should be getting in public education in this country, but we're not. But if we had this education just a little bit, there's a great, really smart person that probably went to MIT or Harvard or Caltech. They work on Wall Street in a cubicle, and they know how to do all that high-level math. The average investor, the
Yeah.
average person saving for retirement, you don't need to know that. You need to know a little bit. You should definitely know what you're putting your money into, but you don't need to know the high level math. No one's going to ask you the standard deviation.
No calculus involved.
Yeah, yeah, any fund they list the rate of return. It you just look at what is their background, their history. So it's
Yes.
just very simple. 10%, 5%. It's very simple to understand.
Just make
It
sure
is.
you spend less than you make. That's all there
Oh,
is.
yes. It starts at budgeting and you know, even I do a class where I said, do you guys don't understand your tax returns? Because women sign the tax returns and don't look at them. And then later, and we have this a lot of times in divorce where all of a sudden you're getting audit and the woman's like, oh my God, my husband falsified the tax returns. I had no idea. And she's been signing that for years.
Yeah.
So now she's responsible for that. So you do have those situations that happen. They're not the norm, but they do happen. And how do you protect yourself? How do you know? Like, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, I love the way that you motivate them. You can help them to change the mindset. You just said, you know, I can't do it, but no, you can. You can. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, and I think the best motivator is having women talk to each other about money. Have women, I tell women, just pick a blog, pick a finance blog. Whether it's the Empowered Worth one, whether there's Clever Girl Finance, there's actually Elvest. There's a lot of companies out there that are catering to women right now because women control so much money, and no one talks about that.
Look at the purse string, you know.
Women are the vast majority of wealth in this country, and we will even more. I think in 2022, it's like $1 trillion of wealth. So once you realize that there are companies that want to cater to women, then you can find that education, read blogs, read stuff like that, start getting involved, and feel good about the fact that women make 89% of the consumer decisions in this country. Women control the vast majority of wealth. Women were before COVID the vast majority of the labor force, the workforce in this country. Okay, women do historically better than men when it comes to investing. So if all those statistics are true, then it's easy. You can do it.
And I think the fact that it helped coming advice from another woman instead of just, you know, some men just gonna come in and say, you could do it, you know?
Yeah. And I say that also, if you do have, and there are some great guys out there who are financial advisors who are fantastic. My husband's one of them. If you have a situation where either a man or a woman, it's not a good fit, or you feel like you're being talked down to, or you don't feel comfortable asking a question, then
Yeah.
find somebody else. There's not just 10 financial advisors out in the world. There's millions of financial advisors in this country. Find one that works for you, like a doctor. Get a second opinion.
Sure. So there's many times people exercise their relationship by financially control the relationship. So in a divorce situation, what kind of risk the woman should take if, let's say that woman's a man, if the partner is the one who want to be in control of that finance situation, but the relationship didn't go well, do you have like an attorney that you refer to or you work with?
I usually, when I get brought in by the representing counsel, but I also have worked with women who have come to me and said, I'm thinking of getting divorced. What do I do? I will give you a list, if we're working together, of the things that you need to start kind of putting your ducks in a row. Is first and foremost, are you safe? Do you feel safe? And that is my main thing. That's the first
Yeah.
question I ask. Do you feel safe? Because if you don't feel safe, the money's not worth it. Get out. I mean, that's your life is something you can't get back. Now, if you feel safe and you can, then I'm going to ask you to try to get your income tax. I'm going to ask you to get bank statements. I'm going to ask you to get those passwords to all those accounts, because everything nowadays is digital. Get those passwords, get accounts, get a credit card in your name. There's a list of things that I'm going to ask you to do. And then I'm going to help you put the team together. I'm going to help you get first and foremost, a lawyer. We're going to help you get a divorce coach or a therapist of some sort so that you can talk. It's really important to have that mental health component during divorce. And a lot of that's free, by the way. There are people who do pro bono work. So I think everybody thinks that when they think about divorce and they hear me talk, oh, I'm paying for a lawyer and I'm paying for you and I'm paying for the therapist, and if I have kids, I'm paying for a child therapist and all this. Yes, it can be very expensive. You can be Bill and Melinda Gates who get divorced, and it's probably $1 million divorce. Or you can do it, or there are associations that will do it pro bono. There are great places out there that are trying to help women get through this.
This is wonderful when you have a list of resources and people that you work with. So hopefully our listener is not at that stage that needing this, but if you do, or your friends or somebody who in need of this service, please make sure you contact Vicki. It just sounds like she really can help you to get up on your own.
Do you have a situation where in the process of preparing the woman, they restore their relationship with the spouse? Yeah.
And that does happen. And you know what I say? Don't throw out all the homework you did. Don't go back to that other behavior that you had before where you trust everything. And look, I've had cases where the woman has come and said, I'm ready to do this. And then 5-6 years pass before we actually have a divorce filing, because they get back together and then they fall into the bad habits. And then my key to any woman who said, I'm going to give it another go or we're reconciling, is don't get rid of the therapist. Don't get rid of the therapist. And please try to keep a handle on the finances. Don't give back the control. Because in a lot of situations, what's happened, you have, let's say you separated, right? You've gotten control of the finances. Then you get romanced again and you fall in love again and you get back together. Now, in that person's mind, there's, hey, she did this already one time and she filed. So that's actually a lot of times it's a gap in which that person who controlled the finances is not hiding assets during all those years, because they know that this will eventually come to an end. Not always, but at times that does happen. So I always say, keep the therapist, keep control of your finances, and hopefully you have a good resolution and it does not end in divorce, hopefully.
Yeah, usually it's a wake-up call, and it's better when both the parties understand what's going on and work together instead of one person control and the other one just follow, because you know where it is. Money is power sometimes.
Exactly. And I do say this to women, because I've had women say, well, do I need your services? I'm happily married. I'm not going to get divorced. And I just say, if you're happily married and you've taken a vow like I did, I took vows. Part of my vows was to support my husband in everything we did. That includes the finances. I have to be a partner. I have to say, is there anything I should know? Do you feel comfortable Do you want me to do something? You have to support each other. And that's really important, I think, for everyone to understand that it's as equally important for you to be involved in the finances when things are good than when things are bad, because you're supporting each other. You're doing it together. And that's the intention of marriage, right? That you do it together.
Yeah, if God forbid one person gets sick and he doesn't have, or she doesn't have the mental capacity to do that, then how are you going to be sustaining yourself and your partner's, future?
Yeah. I think with COVID, that's something that maybe women have really woken up to, which is what happens if all of a sudden I catch a virus or my husband catches a virus and is intubated. How do I pay the rent? Where does the money come from? Especially if you are raising children and not actively working in the workforce. Those are questions you need to ask yourself.
Yeah, it is true. There's a lot of complicating things, but it's all take small step, right? So I love the part that your program is you have actually many different courses that you just take one course at a time, understand a little bit here, and then you can move to the next one, to the next one. I mean, I think budgeting is the biggest thing. If you get the budget one, foundation one, that nailed down before you think about investment.
Exactly. And that's one of the things that I always say. I say it in my book. The budget is the base of the pyramid. It has to be secure and it has to be really tight. You need to take the time to put the budget together, to be truthful when you put the budget together. Be truthful about what you spend. Be truthful about what your expectations are. The next thing I tell everybody is I want to see you, depending on what you do for a living, have 6 to 8 months of savings, of bare necessity savings. And this was really crucial during COVID when people couldn't go to work or were laid off or furloughed. How are you going to live? So if you have those, we call them emergency funds there to pay food, light, rent, or mortgage.
Healthcare. Yeah.
Well, yeah, what you need, your essentials. This is not going up to Starbucks and having a latte time. This is bare bones essential.
Right.
That's crucial. Then once you have that, then you start saving for retirement. And once you're contributing to a 401k or an IRA or whatever vehicle you want to contribute to, then we start thinking of investing.
Right.
So there are layers. There are layers to that pyramid, and making sure that you have everything. But that's what our course does. It takes it very step by step. It's on demand. You do it as you want. You can do it on your iPad, which is one of the level of our platform that you can just do it on your iPad. It's easy and convenient. You can do it while you're waiting. Take a module while you're waiting in the doctor's office or in the pickup line at school, whatever you like.
The best thing is free. So, oh my God, what else is better than free to learn? So if you, do you have like a book or something that you recommend people to read or a podcast to listen to?
Well, I always tell everybody to pick up a copy of my book, Empower Your Work. It's available on Amazon.
Okay.
Google, put Victoria Lowell in the Amazon search, or the name of the book, Empower Your Work. It's available in English and Spanish. And then I would also encourage everyone to tune into my podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, all major podcasting platforms. And that's the Empower Worth podcast, Worthy Wisdom for Women. And we cover finance monthly, at least, if not more. And we also cover other topics about empowering business growth, surviving trauma, anything that can empower women. That's the wisdom that we strive to give there.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Those are wonderful, wonderful resources. Thank you so much for what you do. I really am admiring. I think that's one of the biggest step that women, most of women, I think is a lot better compared to maybe 30, 40 years ago. But still, I think that's the number could be better, right? I mean, we need more of that.
The number could definitely be better. We've made huge strides in the last, oh God, since the 80s. I always want to say the last 20 years, but no, it's actually the last 40 years. We've made huge strides for women in legislation, in the workforce, in pay equity. We're not equal yet, but we're getting closer. There is a lot of data out there that says that COVID probably set us back anywhere between 10 and 20 years. I actually want to see more data come out as we're settling and we're going back to work to see where we are with that.
Mhm.
But definitely, yeah, we've made strides. We just need to go further. We need to go further than we have.
Yeah, I
you-
think, well, go ahead.
Do you have a list of vendors that support your client, your student, if they need like healthcare, they need where to park their emergency fund or what to do, like
What I
insurance.
usually do, and this is something, you can sign up for a 30-minute free session. And in those sessions, if you have a question like that, it's really easy to point people to who would be the right provider, and put them in. Not everything is standard. I can't say that there's one person who's a go-to for this, because that may not be the perfect person for that person.
Right.
So I try to spend time, and that's why coaching is really important. I think if you can afford to do it, sign up for an hour of coaching, sign up for a package of coaching, and we can do that. We can get you straightened out. Like, this is who you should be talking to, and let me look at this and let me look at that. And we sit down and we do those things. And we even do budget creation in coaching.
Yeah, with all the tax law and all these things too. So there can be a little complicated. So it's not hard, but it's not that easy either, because things change all the time from the government standpoint. Do you recommend high school student before they go to college to have a hand on understanding all this financial before they become adult?
Definitely. In fact, one of my go-to things that I do when I speak to I do speak to high school students on occasion, is to say, your biggest financial decision, the most important financial decision you will make in your life, you are making at the age of 17, and that's where you're going to go to college.
Yeah.
And mainly because depending on where you go, it could be so expensive that you are going to incur college debt, and you will never be able to get out from under that debt, or it will take you 20, 30 years to get out from under that debt. That's going to put off when you can buy a house. It's going to put off your credit score. It's going to do a lot of things. And it's really hard at that age to understand that. So I highly encourage both parents and high school juniors and seniors to start not only learning about personal finance, but to really sign up. We do webinars on student loans, on what do they need, what are college funding options. We tend to do that in the fall, and usually towards the spring, because that's when kids are getting those letters from colleges. And look at what your college funding options are, and really make the smartest choice for your pocket, not just your educational experience. Because you can get a great education at a state school and it'll cost you $40,000, and you can get a very equal education in an Ivy League school that'll cost you $80,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they still have this practice, but I remember when I was in college, which is long time ago, they always have this vendor from credit card company, and you can sign up and you just kind of like got, some free credits. And I don't know if they still doing that, but that was so dangerous.
Yes. Thankfully, they are not allowed on college campuses anymore. They are not. I remember this. You and I are very close in age. I remember they were all lined up in the student union.
Yes, got free t-shirt, get free this and that.
I was 18 and had a Capital One card with $5,000 limit that I signed up on a table at my college student union. Yes, that is not something you see anymore. It's much more regulated. First of all, we went through the horrible credit crisis of 2008, 2007, and 2009. Those 3 years that were horrible. So it's not as easy to sign up for credit cards.
Oh, good.
Back then, I remember people who signed up. Somebody signed up their dog for a credit card, and the dog got a credit card.
Well, actually, I did sign up for the Discover back then, and but I never really spend more than I can afford. Like, I always pay in full every month, whatever I put in, I make sure I have money to pay for it. But sometimes it's way easy when you have a piece of plastic and you just kind of swipe, 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 and it's easy to incur debt. So I'm glad that they don't have that practice anymore.
Yeah, I remember I accept the American Express card. So that's my first credit card.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it's not everywhere except American Express. So
American Express is actually a credit card that I like a lot because you have to pay it off in full at the end of the month. So it doesn't work in the same way like Visa where it's like, oh, this is the minimum payment. And it's funny because kids don't even realize that, oh, I pay it every month. But what are you paying? The minimum payment. I'm like, okay, your credit score is horrible because paying just the minimum payment doesn't help your credit score if you keep on spending on the card.
Yeah.
You have to knock down the principal. Well, they don't even know. You talk to them and they don't even know how to read the credit card statement.
And they're about what, 19 and 20% compound interest? Oh my goodness.
No idea. And I even find it interesting nowadays. We're like, well, do you have the statement? Well, I haven't gotten one because they don't get mail. Young kids don't get mail anymore, or email.
So I'm glad that they no longer practice that for the student because that's the easiest bait, just like it's just so easy to get student hooked onto it in a sense. But anyhow, give us some advice that somebody who actually want to start, what's the first step beside going to sign up for your classes? Do they need to start reading statements and understand the statements in the bank card?
Well, I would say if you are signing up for your classes and your school offers a personal finance course, take it. That would be my first thing. If they offer it, not all schools do. Unless you have a reason to be a finance major or a business major, you're never going to take a business related class like that. So you have to kind of search that out. My next thing would be get a checkbook, a physical checkbook, open a checking account, get it, and then, create a budget. And I think the budget should actually be created before you even get to the school. Sit down with your parents and say, how does this look? Are you guys going to give me any money? If you're not going to give me any money, then do I need to get a job? What is my situation? How much money do I have to spend? And create that budget, get that checking account, work when you can work so you can have additional funds. And I actually tell everybody, hold off in building, because everybody wants to start building credit immediately. I get this a lot from parents. Like, I want them to start building credit. I'm like, let's hold off. Let them get through freshman year. There's enough going on freshman year of college with budgeting on its own. You're going to get a phone call. Hey, mom and dad, I don't have money. You're either going to have to send them money via Venmo or you're going to have to give them a credit card. What I say is don't start the credit card until sophomore or junior year. Start building credit. If you really want to start building credit, put their cell phone in their name and pay it. Because and when they move out, utilities will go in their name, and that will help them build credit. There's 1,000 opportunities to build credit. We don't need to do it at 18.
True. Yeah. So what kind of risk they can take at this point that is safe enough?
Okay. I'm not a person that's risk averse. I don't believe that you should not take any risks. To get a big reward, at times you have to take risks. My issue with risk is that you must take risks that is comfortable and that makes sense for the individual. What might be great, opportunity that Lee might take, Sarah may not take, because their risk levels are different. And every advisor that you work with should know that the risk levels are different and the advice should be different to each person. That being said, I tell this could be a college age kid, it could be a 40-year-old person, it could be a 60-year-old person. What is your risk level? If you are 18, you can be riskier. You have years to work that you can make up the money if you were to lose it, right?
Yeah, you get the time.
Right, and that's the same thing at 20, it goes down at 30, it goes down at 40. By the time that you're 60 and you're close to retirement, I'm gonna tell you, we shouldn't really be doing any risk at this point. The time is come to start using those assets. So your risk level usually goes down with age. I always tell everybody, Don't bet anything that you will really, 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 truly regret losing. It's just like going to a casino. No, make that bet. If you lose that $20 and you're gonna leave and cry about it, then you shouldn't be betting it. And it's the same thing. Don't put it in X if you lose it, because that's the thing. If you put it in the stock market, you can lose it. There are other ways of investing that are more secure. Look at those. Look at bonds. Look at T-bills. Look at other ways of putting that money to work for you that aren't as risky.
Excellent. So I guess the biggest risk is the risk of not understanding your own financial, right? I guess
Mhm.
that is the ultimate risk.
Yes, it's not taking control of your finances for yourself and not understanding what you're doing. Yes, definitely.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
can see another risk is to say that, oh, I cannot do it. I don't understand. So if you shut your mind and you say you can't do it, that's the big risk.
That's very true. Your biggest enemy at times, your biggest detractor, your biggest bully, it's yourself. And if you can get over yourself in so many situations in life, just about finances, how farther ahead would you be?
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on here, and you've been on to so many channel station to talk about finance, and we're really grateful that you come on here and share your expertise with our audience. We have a 2 minutes left. I would love to ask you if you want to talk a little bit about Femfessional Orlando.
Yes, Fem City, Orlando. It's near and dear to my heart. I was a Miami Fem. For those of you that don't know, Fem City is an amazing networking opportunity.
I'm sorry, I put Femfessional. Somehow it just come out of it's Fem City.
Fem City, it's Fem City. So it is an incredible networking opportunity for women, entrepreneurs, women professionals. It is worldwide, but we're going to talk here about the Orlando chapter. We are kind of re-energizing the chapter. We did a relaunch. We're meeting great, amazing women. And it's a very different networking organization because it's not just taking care of you and your business growth, but it's taking self-care of yourself. It's taking care of each other as sisters and celebrating and loving and supporting each other as we grow in our business worlds.
It's a women champion women's group, and it's like a big family that where you can actually share your expertise, you can collaborate, you can do a lot of things. And yeah, I caught Fem City, I caught Femfessional because it started with Femfessional. That's how long I was with that ago, maybe 10, 11 years. And that is one of the networking group that is very near and dear to my heart. And I have met so many wonderful, incredible women around the world who expertise in many different areas. So they do have, I think, a month for free trial if you want to be a Fem City in Orlando, or you want a virtual. We have many chapters. I don't know. We have what, 70 chapters or how many chapters?
Yeah, I mean, there's chapters. The other day, I had a coffee talk with one of our Fem sisters in India. There are chapters all over the world, Canada, everywhere. So definitely, everybody should visit www.femcity.com. Look, you'll see that thing right there for that invitation, that 30-day free trial that's going on right now, and take advantage of it. And you will. I think everybody who does ends up signing up and doing it. It's just so revolutionary and so different from other networking groups.
Yeah. So FEMCITY.com, and that's where I met Vicky. And if you want to be in our Orlando chapter, reach out to Vicky, because we are revitalizing the chapter, and we need more sisters coming in.
Definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much, Vicky, and I hope that this helped everyone out there who's puzzling about they should, actively look at their financial thing. Take a look at it. And if you have questions, go into Vicky's website, empowerworth.com, right? And sign up for be a membership, because it is free. Why not? So thank you again. And Any last questions, Sarah, before we close up?
Your Fem City group, do you meet online as well, or is it only? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
right
we're-
now, a lot of them are online, right?
Yeah, we're gonna be doing a lot of hybrid stuff. So we will meet in person, we will meet online. We're gonna be as accessible to people as possible.
Well, tell us about the next, this Wednesday, we're gonna have the
This
first
Wednesday,
in
yes, we're having our
person.
first in person happy hour since COVID. It's happening right here in Windermere at Bella Tuscany. You need to visit that website, femcity.com, hit local events and register for that. And join us so that you can meet all the femmes and get to know why Fem City and reconnect.
Awesome.
Thank you. Well,
Thanks, ladies.
have a great night, everyone. And Sarah and I will see you on Thursday.